Hello everybody, and today I'm going to make this announcement. I've sold my Nintendo Wii U. That's right, I finally sold my Nintendo Wii U. And here's the thing, I honestly have no regrets about it, and I'm actually going to explain why I sold my Wii U in this video. Now, let's talk about problem number one with the Wii U, and that is the lack of games. Out of all the platforms this gen, even the Vita, the Nintendo Wii U has the smallest library of games. But not just that, it has the smallest library of upcoming games. The first-party games for the Wii U are pretty mediocre, with all of them being in the same mold, and many of them being new installments in long-running series, with the exception of games like Splatoon, which is probably Nintendo's first intellectual property that they've hyped up like they have many of their main franchises, even though Splatoon, in all honesty, is a pretty mediocre game that lacks a lot of features that are supposed to be normal in that genre. But hey, at least you can play an HD remastered definitive edition of a GameCube game. You can play yet another Mario Kart, you can play yet another Mario, yet another Super Smash Bros., yet another new Super Mario Bros., yet another Pokemon spin-off, because, you know, there's still no main Pokemon game on consoles, and there probably won't be one knowing Nintendo. There's also a brand new Wii Sports, there's also a new game called Nintendo Land. And there's also some third-party game or two that they paid for, like Bayonetta 2, which, I don't know, the first one wasn't even on the Nintendo Wii, but at least you get Bayonetta 1 with it for free, though, so there's that. And there's also NES Remix, which is a bunch of NES stages rehashed from the original games, but like modified in new cool ways. Like Nintendo went on some ROM hacking site and saw these cool ROM hacks and was like, hey, let's make a quick WarioWare like game with like challenges, but like ROM hack our old games because, you know, that's cool and stuff. And it's on the 3DS too, did you know that? In fact, many of the games I named have similar 3DS versions. In fact, when I was trying out Mario Kart 8 during the one GameStop store demo or whatever, this kid said it looked just like Mario Kart 7. And when it comes to upcoming titles, the Wii U is pretty lacking too. You've got a Zelda game that's been delayed till who knows when, a Star Fox game which has literally nothing show on it, and of course you have Xenoblade Chronicles X, which is coming out soon. I think it had a TBA release date this year or something, I forget. But Xenoblade Chronicles X is already out in Japan. And even though Nintendo can simultaneously release their big role-playing game franchise Pokemon worldwide on the same day, Xenoblade you still have to wait months for on the Wii U. So if you're a Xenoblade fan, Nintendo's kind of treating you like a peasant, while the people who play Pokemon get the game on the same day worldwide, no matter where you live. Nintendo, however, does slightly care about what their fans want in video games and who their fans are, which is why Nintendo's games are now easier than ever. You might be wondering, how can you casualize something that's already casual? Well, go ask Nintendo. They have somehow made their games easier and easier. I mean, look at the new Pokemon games, for example, where they literally hold your hand and give you things such as the experience share, which make the game so much easier because it removes a lot of the skill in a game that was already easy. That's kind of funny, but that's what Nintendo's been doing with a lot of their main franchises, actually. Another good example is Mario Kart 8, where the whole game seems to feel like it's a dice roll or slot machine, while when it comes to Mario Kart Double Dash, you can actually dodge blue shells if you're good enough at the game. And not only that, but you don't lose your items anymore when you fall off in Mario Kart 8. And let's not forget that drifting has been neutered in Mario Karts made after Mario Kart DS to please the kids who scream, "Take the drifting out of the game, Treyarch." But even if you want to still somehow believe that Nintendo games are hard and for hardcore gamers only, which is a common myth I see a lot in the gaming community, let's all be honest. The Wii U has the worst library for first-party games out of any Nintendo console, and there's a reason I said first-party. I'll get into that in a second. But here's the thing with the Wii U. its first-party library is weak when you compare it to the older Nintendo consoles. That's a fact. Now let's talk about the third-party games on the Wii U. And I mean the games that are third-party because they were published by anybody but Nintendo and developed by a third party. Now, when it comes to third-party games on the Wii U, it's an absolute joke. Many of the games are ports from the Xbox 360 or PS3, but the games on the Wii U usually run at a lower quality due to the Wii U's weak hardware. I mean, sure, there are some people who try to spread a myth around about how developers just aren't magically making games for this weak, underpowered hardware, and how it's somehow powerful hardware. But here's the thing, not only does it happen with developer after developer, but you also have to keep in mind that the Wii U specs have been linked, and they're an absolute joke. They're using 90s hardware. And by that I mean the CPU is straight out of the 90s. I mean, they used a PowerPC 750, or G3 as Apple called it when used in their machines, yet again. And I mean, it's a weak, underpowered CPU that developer after developer has come out and said is crap. Because that's the thing, developers don't want to make games for it, and neither do publishers, because Wii U game sales are pathetic and in the gutter, because even if a developer goes out of their way to make a Wii U version, nobody's going to buy it for the system because it does not fit in the Nintendo mold. Even casual games aren't selling on the Wii U by third parties. Only games that fit in the 8-bit retro Nintendo mold sell. And due to stuff like this, nobody wants to make games for the Nintendo Wii U. Third parties, like I said, are avoiding it, and therefore the Wii U's third-party library is just a few ports of 360 games from 2012, late 2012 to 2013, maybe a little bit of 2014 if you want to count that. But there has been very little on the Wii U when it comes to third-party games. There are a ton of casual games and a ton of indie games that fit inside the Nintendo mold. And a few Sonic games too, but I'm not really sure on what the future of Sonic is going to be like, because here's the thing, Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, a Wii U exclusive, was such a colossal train wreck that in the end, I think it did more damage to the Sonic brand than even 06 managed to do. I mean, 06 was pretty bad, but Sonic Boom Rise of Lyric, after it came out, Sega actually closed down Sega of America, or quote, just downsizing and restructuring, which seems to me like corporate speak for closing down. But back to what I was saying. The Nintendo Wii U has had almost no big third-party games this year or last year. I mean, last year, the only real big third-party game that came to the Wii U I can think of was Watch Dogs. And this year, what has the Wii U have upcoming? It has nothing. I mean, look at Battlefield Hardline. That skipped the Wii U, but that was on the 360 of all things, along with the PS3, PS4, and Xbox One, and PC, or Battlefield Hardline, or Call of Duty Advanced Warfare. I mean, and here's the thing, even older Call of Duties like Black Ops 2 and Ghosts were on Nintendo platforms, but Black Ops 3 and Advanced Warfare are not on Nintendo platforms. In fact, if you really want to see how bad the Wii U's library is, especially when it comes to variety, just take the Xbox One and PS4, pick a genre, and then compare said genre on the Wii U to however many games there are on the Nintendo Wii, and you'll notice that the Nintendo Wii U lacks a lot of games that are big on the Xbox One and PS4, especially when you could do it by genre. So yeah, in other words, the Wii U is pretty lacking on games, but that's not the only flaw with the system. The controller, for example, is one of the most awkward I've used, with the Wii U gamepad having that weird, bulky, awkward layout. I mean, why are both analog sticks up at the top instead of either being at the bottom or the left one being at the top? Because that's a very unergonomic design, having both of them on the top, especially when you have to move your finger all the way down to the A button, for example, in Call of Duty when you want to jump or go over ledges. And while the system does support Wii controllers, the problem here is the Wii controllers weren't that great either. You also can't use the GameCube controller in very many situations. I think it only works with one game, as of right now, which is Smash Brothers for the Wii U. And here's the thing with the GameCube controller adapter. Like, it's so crippled, but yet on the Wii, you could use the GameCube controllers for lots of things, from Virtual Console games to games on the Wii itself. Like, you could actually use the GameCube controller with it, but like on the Wii U, the GameCube controller is heavily crippled. You can't even use it to like emulate another controller. It's kind of dumb in my opinion. And the hardware of the Wii U itself is pretty trashy too. I mean, not only does it have the weakest hardware in the business, I mean, it has weaker hardware than both next-gen consoles, but the Wii U also has a terrible Wi-Fi chipset inside that seems to be very poor when it comes to picking up signal. And of course, there's no Ethernet port on the console too. You have to buy a USB Ethernet adapter separately for a few dollars just to get the best connectivity when playing online on the Nintendo Wii U. And I mentioned the online service on the Wii U is possibly the worst out of any console, last gen or this gen. It really is, except maybe better than the Wii, but that's not saying much. Features that even a 2005 console with less memory could do, such as party chat, or sending messages to people playing different games, or sending invites to people playing different games, are not featured in this game. I mean, Splatoon, for example, you can't invite people to your lobby, at least from what I played of it, but you could actually join another player's game. But yeah, in Call of Duty Black Ops 2, which is a game that somehow, like, I think it uses Demonware on the Wii U, which is why it's able to do this, you could actually invite people in the same game, of course, to your game. And did I mention the user interface of the console is very slow, and it lacks many other features that even other consoles can do, such as playing CDs, DVDs, streaming media from your network, and yet the Wii U can't do any of those. So in other words, if you're not playing games on it, it can only really do Netflix, which is what every other device in the universe can do, I guess. But I think what's most telling about how good the Wii U is I put my Wii U up for sale and it took a few days to sell. While if I put like an N64 or GameCube up for sale, it'll sell instantly. I mean, just like that. Boom. In just a few hours, it'll usually sell, and I'll have to ship it then. Sometimes even same day. So, that's the thing. Nintendo's Wii U system is such a flop that I'm not having people buy it instantly right off me, unlike Nintendo's other systems with more established fan bases. And that should tell you something about the Wii U right now. And it also doesn't help that it's insanely overpriced for what you get, because this system has few games, and they're not even of good quality either. And that's all I have to say about the Wii U. It's a piece of crap system, and what's the point in still owning one unless you only play games with the Nintendo logo on them? That's what I have to say about the Wii U. Thanks for watching. Subscribe for more.